Welcome to Becoming a Sleep Consultant. I'm your host, Jayne Havens, a certified sleep consultant and founder of both Snooze Fest by Jayne Havens and Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. On this podcast, I'll be discussing the business side of sleep consulting. You'll have an insider's view on launching, growing, and even scaling a sleep consulting business. This is not a podcast about sleep training. This is a podcast about business building and entrepreneurship. This episode is going to be super short and super sweet, but I promise you there is a method to my madness. So the other day I was hanging out on the couch, low-key afternoon, watching Selling Manhattan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the show. It's on Netflix. It used to be called $1 Million Listing. I think it's the same show, if not a spinoff or very similar. And to give you a brief rundown, this guy, Ryan Serhant, who's like the most successful real estate agent in New York City, has his own show where cameras follow him around as he sells multi-million-dollar apartments in Manhattan. Anyway, this new version on Netflix is all about him growing his own agency where he has all of these super green agents that are working under him and they're learning how to make it in the business. And on this one particular episode that I was watching, he sat down with one of the agents in his office who was just trying to figure out how to make it in this cutthroat industry that they are in. And he said to her, and I'm going to read this quote because it's fantastic and I don't want you to miss a single word. He said, "Instead of spending so much of your time trying to get noticed, spend your time trying to be great. If you spend half your time just trying to be great, you'd be so great that everyone would have to notice you." I love this. I've been living by this. I think I've been living by this really my entire career, but ever since I heard it, I've really been very mindful to make sure that each and every day in my business, I am living and working by these words. I truly believe, and this is really important for people who are listening to this podcast who are perhaps brand new to sleep consulting and they're worried about how they're going to get their name out there, how are they going to market themselves, or maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're not even sure if you would make a good sleep consultant. You're super worried about how you're going to grow a business, how you're going to find clients. What I will say to you, I'm going to read this again. Instead of spending so much of your time trying to get noticed, spend your time trying to be great. If you spend half your time just trying to be great, you'd be so great that everyone would have to notice you. This is so on point. Commit to your excellence, commit to greatness, commit to being really, really good at what you do, and your business will grow. I promise you. We have 2 grads inside of our CPSM community who are former teachers who are not going to be returning to the classroom in the fall. And both of them, one of them has been in business for about a year, the other one for only about 6 months. They have both decided that they are going to leave the classroom and they are going to pursue sleep consulting full time. They already have pretty solid books of business, and this is just even while they're working as teachers, right? Like they had full-time jobs and they built their businesses as sleep consultants. And now, like, we can only imagine what they're going to be able to do once they're not working a full-time job and they can dedicate really like a full day to growing their sleep consulting businesses. And when I think about these 2 women who have grown successful businesses in a very short period of time, what stands out to me about them is that actually neither one of them is like a brilliant marketer. They're both low key when it comes to being online. Neither one of them likes to put themselves, front and center on the internet. They are successful in their businesses because they are so great at what they do. They have committed to excellence. They have committed to greatness. They have both been continuing their own education, prioritizing learning and growing and just getting better and better and better at what they do and providing the best level of service to their clients and getting their clients results because they know what they're doing and they're good at it. And so when you know what you're doing and when you're good at what you do, the referrals come in and that's how your business grows. Okay. So If you are either new to sleep consulting and you just are trying to get your business up and running, or if you're listening to this and you haven't yet started a business, if there's one thing that you can take away, I guess like this week's learning lesson is that the most important thing when it comes to growing a successful business is just being really good at what you do. Okay. I promise if you can get to a place where you're really good at what you do, the business will follow. I'm going to read it one more time and then I'm going to wrap it up. I told you it was going to be short and sweet. He said, instead of spending so much of your time trying to get noticed, spend your time trying to be great. If you spend half your time just trying to be great, you'd be so great that everyone would have to notice you. Think about it. Make it happen. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Becoming a Sleep Consultant podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean so much to me if you would rate, review, and subscribe. When you rate, review, and subscribe, this helps the podcast reach a greater audience. I am so grateful for your support. If you would like to learn more about how you can become a certified sleep consultant, head over to my Facebook group, Becoming a Sleep Consultant, or to my website, thecpsm.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you will tune in for the next episode.